Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. All right, today we are taking a look at TSR's The Classic Dungeon. You know the game about a group of warrior knights on horseback riding through desert canyons. Right? Come on, guys. It's called The Dungeon. It says it right there. And what do you have on your cover? Pretty much the exact opposite thing of a dungeon. But yes, so for those of us my age, 40 plus, the original dungeon, the original TSR dungeon from like 1975, I think, 77, that was probably our introduction into the world of dungeon crawling and dungeon diving. I remember playing the game at my buddy's house. And he also was the only person I ever knew in my entire life who had an Intellivision. And the Intellivision had that Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game. So Dungeon, the Intellivision, Dungeons and Dragons, and then Redbox D&D. That was my initiation into this hobby. And I remember playing the very old version of Dungeon. This is kind of like the mid version here. And then there's also this new WotC edition. I do not have a copy of the original. I would like to possibly, if just for the better box art, because at least the original actually had a cool picture of a dungeon on the cover, not warrior knights on horseback riding through desert canyons. But yeah, I remember the game fondly, but I also remember even thinking that back in the day, it was pretty basic. And there is not a lot to be said about Dungeon, because it is it is as basic as a board game can be. The one amazing thing that Dungeon has going for it is the board. And the board in this version of the classic Dungeon is really quite nice because it is also quite big and spacious. And it's a really fun dungeon just to move around in. I get the feeling, I have a suspicion that this was one of the influences for Roger designing Dungeon Crusade, which, oh my god, I am so excited for Dungeon Crusade, guys. I seriously can't wait. Roger, I cannot wait. But when I was setting this up this week, I thought about, you have your starting area here, kind of like the siege area that Roger calls it. And then from there, the dungeon branches out into these different colors and different levels. And so I was kind of like tricking myself into thinking that I was playing some kind of Dungeon Crusade prototype while I was playing Dungeon. The game itself is very simple. You take a warrior or you take a hero, and in this game there are a number of different heroes. You have Thug the dwarf, Kadar the dwarf, Flind the wizard, Nook the wizard, Madeline the paladin, Flinitar the paladin, Krind the thief, Thosia the thief, Floyd the warrior, Devon the warrior, the famous warrior Devon, Abrana the warrior, Longbranch the elf, Cassira the elf, and, Alonzo, the great elf name, Alonzo. And then while I was playing this game, I was playing Priscilla the dwarf, Rast the wizard, Zenda the thief, and Quinoa the paladin. But you're going to take your hero, and in this game, the heroes are represented by little minis like this, which are the plastic versions of the metal versions that came in Dragon Strike. So they got a little bit of use out of these during this time. And you're going to move up to their movement value, which most of them is 5. I think the dwarves have a movement value of 4. You're going to move into different rooms. The different rooms are color-coded and categorized into level. You have level 1, which are like the bricks. Level 2 chambers are purple. However, my copy has a a misprint where the level 2 cards actually have the level 1 graphic. You have your level 3, which are the yellow cards there, and then your level 4 encounters, which are these green tiles. And you have your level 5, which is your hardwood floor. Level 5, the hardwood floor dungeon. And then level 6, your kind of a blue stone look there. And you're just going to move around, and you are going to enter into one of the rooms. And when you do so, you draw a corresponding card for that level monster. So this, we are level 1. So we would draw a level 1 monster card. We would flip that over, and we would have to attack the monster. Each of the heroes will have a couple special things they can do. It'll tell you what color they attack on. So this paladin attacks on red. So on red, I would have to hit a 3-up on 2d6 to destroy this skeleton there. All right, so that skeleton would be hit, he would die, and then I would draw a level 1 treasure. And look at that, it's one of the few special items. So that would be a sword, and that would allow me to have +1 to my combat rolls. And then different heroes attack on different colors. So some are easier, some heroes it's easier to kill. The thieves, it's easier to ambush other players. The dwarves, it is easier to find secret doors. And then also each of the heroes has a different point value that they need to win, or they need to gather that many points of gold in order to win the game. So it is pretty much a race game. You are racing around the dungeon. Oh, when you kill a monster, you just put him face down in that room to show that that room has been cleared out. You can begin the game with all the rooms full of treasure and monsters, but I find that that just looks really messy, and it's kind of hard to see the board. I like seeing the board in this game because it is such a just prototypical dungeon. I mean, this is kind of like the Uber dungeon, right? This is the when you think of a dungeon layout, this is exactly what comes to mind. And in that sense, I appreciate it. There are also these chambers, and the chambers don't have treasure. They will only contain 3 monsters that you can fight. Additionally, the level 3 chambers allows you to heal. The level 4 chambers allow you to teleport. And the level 5 chambers allow you to gain spells. And the wizard will start with a hand of 6 spells. And there are different spells. There are teleport spells. There are lightning bolt spells, fireball spells, and I think that's it. There are 3 different spells. Now the spells don't actually tell you what they do on the card. It would have been nice. But as you know, it's an old game. And so old games, you have to look in the manual to find your spell table. And then that will tell you what the different spells do. Where is the spell table at? The rule book is not the best. Magic spells, 16. For such a short little manual, it is kind of poorly written, and you do kind of have to look around at stuff to figure things out, which is pretty funny considering it's such a basic game. But there, that tells you what your spells do. They're lightning bolts. You use the yellow numbers in combat, or fireballs, you use the yellow numbers in combat. Lightning bolts, you use the gray numbers, and teleport allows you to teleport. Then if you attack an enemy and you don't kill them, then they get to attack you back, and you roll the 2d6 and this happens to you. Usually you get hit, you lose some of your treasure or all of it, you go back to the main chamber and you start again. And that's basically what you do in this game. You move around, you go into an empty chamber, or a chamber that hasn't been cleared yet. You fight a monster, you hope you kill it, you get the treasure, and then whoever wins, whoever gets their total first wins the game. And so you can see there, like this dwarf only needs 10,000, but this wizard needs 30,000. So apparently that's some kind of balancing mechanism. The spells make the wizard more powerful, so he needs more gold to win than the dwarves. I'm not quite sure if that works out that way or not. One thing I did like is usually in this game, at the beginning of the game, you're going to roll 2d6 each player, and the player who rolls the highest goes first, and then you just go around in clockwise order. I like to each turn roll for initiative, so each hero would roll a d6 with the highest going first. So that way, because there is kind of a first player advantage, possibly, and adding in a little element of randomness to see who gets to go first adds a little bit of excitement. And if there's a tie, then whoever has gotten the most valuable treasure last goes first. So that gives a little bit more meaning to the treasure, because the treasure in this game really doesn't have much meaning beyond points. You're not really finding very many items. Sometimes you will find things like little medallions where you get a little bit of a bonus, but usually you are just getting points. It's kind of like an old arcade game where all you are getting are points. There's, I think, in each little deck of treasure, there are like 1 or 2 items that might help you out. We saw that sword earlier. But yeah, there's not a ton to say about Dungeon. It's a very simple game. Like I said, even when I was young and playing it, I did recognize that it was simple. But it's not a great game by any definition of the word. However, I do think it is kind of an important game. It is a game that represents kind of like the evolution of the hobby, and we can go back and we can see it, how at one time this was what a dungeon crawl was, and we can recognize how far we have gotten. Well, I still think it is possible to go back and have some fun with this game. I was just told by a friend of mine on Facebook, a friend who I've known for many, many years. He said he and his sons still play this game maybe once or twice a year. He said they don't often finish it, but they have fun taking it out, setting it up, and playing long enough. Maybe they play to like 5,000 points or something like that. But yeah, I just wanted to take a quick look and a little retro look at the classic Dungeon. I really wish this box cover was better. But yeah, I don't know. If you can find this game for really cheap at a yard sale or something, maybe pick it up. Might be able to have a couple of evenings of fun. Maybe get some buddies together. Lots of beer might make it more fun. I believe there are some house rules that can make it even more exciting. A few things on BGG, but at that point, maybe you might as well just play another game. But yeah, let me know if you have some good memories of playing the classic Dungeon back in the day. Let me know if you guys still play it. Maybe if you use some house rules that add a little bit of excitement, or if maybe you think this game should just kind of live in our memories as the representing the good times we used to have before the hobby moved on and evolved into the more exciting things we have today. So, all right, guys, we'll take it easy. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.